A designer store rejected Sasha Obama. Her revenge was the ultimate lesson in humility. Sasha Obama walked into the upscale designer store with a smile on her face. It wasn't just any store. This was the place where the world's elite shopped. Her dress, a perfect balance of elegance and simplicity, reflected the image she had carefully crafted over the years. Yet as she walked in, the usual hush fell over the crowd. She was used to it, having grown up in the spotlight. However, today felt different. She wasn't just the daughter of the former president today. She was Sasha, a woman on a mission. She made her way to the counter where a well-dressed sales associate barely glanced up at her. The woman didn't even acknowledge her presence as Sasha browsed the new collection. The store was buzzing with attention towards a high-profile celebrity, and Sasha, despite her pedigree, was treated as though she didn't belong. She felt the familiar sting of being dismissed, something she hadn't experienced in a long time. But it wasn't the first time she'd faced rejection. From her school days to her career, there had always been moments when people judged her before they truly understood who she was. This time, though, it cut deeper. She stood there surrounded by luxurious clothing, but the one thing she wanted, a simple acknowledgement, seemed impossible to get. She turned to the sales associate and spoke with a calmness that hid the fury building inside. "I'd like to try on a few pieces, please," she said, her voice steady, but there was a noticeable edge. The associate glanced at her, raising an eyebrow. Without a word, she turned away and went to the other side of the store, leaving Sasha standing in the cold silence of rejection. It wasn't just the lack of service. It was the underlying assumption that Sasha Obama, despite her name and fame, didn't fit in with this world of luxury. The people around her, with their tailored suits and flashing cameras, made her feel like an outsider in a place that should have been welcoming. "Do you need help, miss?" another employee asked, her tone laced with indifference. Sasha smiled tightly, but the words that followed would be a lesson in humility that no one expected, especially not the designer store's high-end clientele. "Not today," Sasha replied, her eyes locking with the employees for a brief moment. It was a simple statement, but it was the beginning of something larger. Sasha wasn't just going to walk away. She wasn't going to let her name be used as a reason for exclusion. This was no longer about a dress or a designer. It was about something deeper. It was about showing everyone, including herself, that rejection didn't define her. The store manager appeared, sensing the rising tension. "Is there a problem here?" he asked, his voice polite but firm. Sasha looked him in the eye. "Yes, there is." "You don't know who I am, do you?" she asked, her voice calm but dripping with subtle power. The manager's face faltered slightly before he regained his composure. "No, miss, I'm afraid I don't," he responded. Sasha smiled inwardly. This wasn't about her name, but about their failure to see beyond their assumptions. The truth hit her then. This wasn't just about clothing, status, or even pride. This was about learning the very thing they thought they were teaching her, humility. But Sasha wasn't about to be a passive learner. As the manager fumbled to apologize, Sasha made a decision. She walked towards the exit, leaving the store without another word. The rejection had stung, but it would fuel her fire. The true lesson? Humility didn't just come from bowing down, it came from standing tall and demanding respect, no matter where you were. Her revenge, it was not the kind they were expecting. It would come later, when they'd learn what true strength really looked like. As Sasha stepped out onto the busy street, the cold air seemed to refresh her. She didn't feel defeated, not at all. The humiliation she had just endured would not dictate her next move. She was Sasha Obama. And this moment, this minor setback, was nothing compared to the struggles she had already faced. She pulled out her phone, her fingers moving quickly across the screen. She wasn't going to let this slide. Not only would she prove to them that she belonged, but she would do it in a way that would send a message loud and clear. Within minutes, she found herself scheduling a meeting with a fashion mogul she had met a few months ago, someone who had been struck by her intelligence, creativity, and vision rather than her last name. Sasha wasn't looking for revenge in the traditional sense. She didn't want to humiliate anyone, but she did want to show them that the world didn't revolve around the walls they had built. There was more to style and success than just money, status, and who you knew. The people who rejected her didn't know her story, and they never would. A few days later, Sasha sat in the sleek office of the fashion mogul, a room adorned with sketches of innovative designs and photos of runway shows that had changed the fashion industry. This was the environment that understood her. The mogul looked at her with curiosity, waiting for her pitch. "I want to create something new," Sasha said, her voice calm yet determined. "A collection that speaks to everyone, not just the rich and famous. A collection that's inclusive, that challenges the norms of the fashion world. I've experienced the rejection of being judged by appearance alone, and I want to show the world that true style isn't about how much you spend or who you know. It's about self-expression." The mogul raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "Go on," they said, leaning forward. "I want to create a line that blends high fashion with street style, something that anyone, no matter where they come from, can wear and feel like they belong. A message that says, 'I matter.'" The mogul smiled, impressed by her vision. "You've got the right idea, but we'll need to shake things up. We'll need controversy, the kind that gets people talking." Sasha nodded, a glint of excitement in her eyes. "Exactly. We're going to make people uncomfortable, and we're going to do it in a way that forces them to look at their own biases." Over the next few weeks, Sasha worked tirelessly with the fashion mogul and a team of designers, building a collection that was as much about making a statement as it was about fashion. The line was bold, diverse, and unapologetic. It featured pieces that blended luxury fabrics with casual designs, high-end tailoring with street-inspired cuts. It was a reflection of Sasha herself, someone who had been judged too often, but had always risen above it. The day of the unveiling, Sasha stood in front of a crowd of industry giants, celebrities, and influencers, many of whom had once dismissed her. Her collection, now displayed on mannequins around the room, was the center of attention. But it wasn't just the clothes that drew eyes. It was the message they carried. As the crowd whispered, some in admiration and others in confusion, Sasha walked to the center of the room. She spoke with quiet confidence. "I know what it feels like to be overlooked, to be judged by appearances, to be rejected. But I want you to know that everyone has a place. Everyone deserves to be seen." Her words echoed in the room, and a shift began. The fashion elite, who had once turned her away, were now paying attention. They realized they had underestimated her, and in doing so, they had missed an important point. True style and success come from within. By the end of the evening, Sasha had not only gained respect, but had earned a place in the very industry that had once rejected her. Her collection sold out faster than anyone had anticipated, and it became a symbol of empowerment. Sasha had achieved her revenge, not by bringing others down, but by rising above the limitations they had placed on her. The designer store, the one that had turned her away, they were forced to rethink their exclusivity. Within weeks, they began working with Sasha's brand, eager to get a piece of the groundbreaking success she had created. The ultimate lesson in humility wasn't just about accepting rejection, it was about making sure no one would ever reject you again. Weeks passed, and Sasha's collection continued to make waves across the fashion world. The buzz surrounding her line had transformed into a global movement, with people from all walks of life proudly wearing her designs. It wasn't just about the clothes, it was about what they represented. Every piece carried a story of overcoming adversity, of breaking barriers, and of defying the societal expectations that had long dictated who deserved to be seen and heard. However, as the success of her line grew, so did the whispers. While many celebrated her for her brilliance, others couldn't help but wonder how someone like Sasha Obama, the daughter of a former president, could truly understand the struggles of everyday people. Some argued that her success was due to her name and that she hadn't faced the same challenges that most people did in their daily lives. Sasha, however, wasn't bothered by the criticism. She knew that people would always question her abilities, especially when they didn't understand her motivations. But what they failed to see was that Sasha's true inspiration came from the very people who had been overlooked, ignored, or judged. It was their stories that fueled her fire. One day, as Sasha sat in her office, her phone buzzed with a message from a reporter. The subject line read, "Elon Musk wants to meet you. The message behind your line is catching his attention." Her heart skipped a beat. Elon Musk, the billionaire entrepreneur known for his groundbreaking work with Tesla, SpaceX, and countless other ventures? Sasha had followed his career from the sidelines, admiring his innovation and boldness. But meeting him, that was something completely unexpected. She quickly responded, setting up a meeting for the following week. When the day arrived, Sasha was both nervous and excited. She arrived at the meeting spot, a sleek cafe in the heart of Silicon Valley. Elon was already there, sitting at a table by the window. His presence was commanding, yet there was a calmness about him as he looked up and smiled when she walked in. "Miss Obama, it's an honor," he said, standing up to shake her hand. "Your work has been making waves, and I've been paying attention." Sasha smiled politely, but inside, her mind was racing. "Thank you, Mr. Musk. I'm honored you took the time to meet with me." They sat down, and the conversation quickly shifted from pleasantries to a more serious tone. Elon spoke passionately about the importance of breaking the traditional molds of business and innovation. He shared his vision for a more sustainable future, one where technology was not just a tool for the wealthy, but for everyone. "I've been watching your collection closely," Elon continued. "What you've done isn't just about fashion. It's about creating something that transcends the industry. You're showing people that anyone can belong, no matter where they come from. You've sparked something. People are looking at themselves differently now, and I think that's what we need more of." Sasha felt a surge of pride, but she kept her composure. It's about creating something real, something that people can connect with. Fashion isn't just about the clothes, it's about the stories behind them. Elon nodded, his eyes gleaming with excitement. "I see that, and I want to be part of that story. I think together we could make something even bigger. Something that not only changes the fashion world, but also the way we think about inclusivity in tech and innovation. What do you think?" Sasha was taken aback. She had never considered merging her fashion line with technology, but the more she thought about it, the more the idea made sense. Fashion and tech weren't as different as people might think. They both had the power to shape society, to challenge norms, and to push boundaries. "I'm in," she said, her voice steady with conviction. "Let's do it." And just like that, a new chapter began. Sasha Obama and Elon Musk, two figures who had once seemed worlds apart, were now collaborating on a groundbreaking project that would combine fashion and technology in ways no one had ever imagined. The partnership would bring together the best of both worlds, creating a platform that not only revolutionized the fashion industry, but also addressed global issues such as sustainability, accessibility, and social justice. The news of their collaboration hit the media like a thunderclap. People were fascinated, not just by the combination of fashion and technology, but by the powerful message it sent. The change didn't come from sitting in the shadows. It came from stepping into the spotlight and challenging the status quo. As the project gained momentum, Sasha reflected on her journey. From the designer store that had rejected her to the global recognition she had achieved, she had proven that humility wasn't about shrinking back. It was about standing tall, even when the world tried to push you down. And now, with Elon Musk by her side, Sasha was on the cusp of something even greater. This wasn't just about getting revenge on a store that had overlooked her. It was about changing the world in a way that no one could ignore. Her message was clear. It wasn't about who you were or where you came from. It was about what you did and how you chose to rise above the challenges life threw at you. Sasha Obama wasn't just a name anymore. She was a force to be reckoned with. As Sasha and Elon's collaboration continued to take shape, the project became more than just an alliance between a fashion icon and a tech mogul. It became a movement, a wave of change sweeping across industries that had long been resistant to the idea of disruption. The launch of their joint venture, Textile, was met with both anticipation and skepticism. The fashion world was used to its established patterns. Collections were made in months, trends were set by the few, and only those who could afford to follow had access to the best. But Sasha and Elon were about to turn that world upside down. The first collection that merged tech with fashion hit the market with a force that no one saw coming. The clothes weren't just garments. They were wearable pieces of technology. Each outfit was designed not only for style but also for functionality. One jacket could change its color at the press of a button, another was embedded with solar panels to charge devices, and a series of shoes integrated with health tracking tech that could monitor your steps and vitals in real time. But it wasn't the technology that grabbed everyone's attention, it was the story behind it. The line wasn't just for the elite, it was designed with accessibility in mind, making the future of fashion available to everyone, from factory workers to tech enthusiasts. And while some doubted whether such innovations would really work in everyday life, others were captivated by the vision Sasha and Elon had laid out. Textile is more than just clothes. It's a way of life, said Sasha in one of her first interviews after the launch. We're giving people the opportunity to own something that not only reflects their personal style, but also empowers them in ways they never imagined. We want to build a world where fashion and technology come together to make lives easier, more sustainable, and more connected. Elon, ever the visionary, added his own thoughts. In the tech world, we're always looking at the future. But what Sasha has done is bring that future to the present. She's not just talking about change, she's creating it. The buzz was contagious. But as with all great movements, the critics soon emerged. Some fashion purists scoffed at the idea of mixing fashion with technology, calling it a gimmick. Others claimed that technology didn't belong in fashion, that it would strip away the soul of what fashion was meant to represent. The voices of doubt were loud, but they were drowned out by the stories of people who felt empowered by textile. One such story stood out, a woman named Clara, a single mother working multiple jobs, who had been able to purchase one of Textile's affordable jackets. Clara had been struggling to make ends meet and had almost given up on ever owning anything that wasn't secondhand. But when she saw the jacket, sleek, stylish, and functional, she knew it was her opportunity. Not only did it give her a sense of pride, but it also helped her stay connected in her daily life. With the jacket's built-in phone charging capability, Clara no longer had to worry about her phone dying while she juggled work, school runs, and life as a mother. I never imagined I could own something like this, Clara said in a video interview that went viral. It's not just about the jacket, it's about what it represents. It means I'm not invisible. Someone out there sees me. They see us. Sasha watched Clara's story unfold with a sense of pride. It was moments like these that reminded her why she had started this journey. It wasn't just about the money or the fame. It was about giving people the tools they needed to succeed, to feel seen, to rise above the barriers that society had built for them. But the story wasn't over yet. Just as textile was beginning to change the fashion world, a political storm began brewing in the background. Critics started questioning the implications of merging fashion with technology. Was this a step toward creating a divide between the haves and have-nots? Would the innovation that had been built to empower the marginalized end up being another form of control? Sasha and Elon were faced with difficult questions. Was the vision they had created truly inclusive? Or were they just feeding into a system that could ultimately harm the very people they had set out to help? These questions weren't easy to answer, but one thing was clear. Sasha was no longer just a designer. She was now a voice in the ongoing conversation about equality, access, and the power of innovation. In a public statement, she addressed the concerns head-on. I understand the skepticism. Technology can be a double-edged sword, but I believe we have the opportunity to change the narrative. Textile isn't just about selling clothes, it's about creating a platform for people to empower themselves. We're committed to keeping the prices affordable, to ensuring sustainability, and most importantly, to making sure that no one gets left behind. The public's response was mixed, but Sasha's honesty resonated. She wasn't just a privileged figure detached from the struggles of others. She was someone who understood the weight of her position and was determined to use it for good. Elon stood by her side, offering his support and sharing his vision for a more inclusive future in both tech and fashion. As textile grew, it became clear that this wasn't just a business. It was a movement that not only bridged the gap between fashion and technology, but also bridged the gap between people who had been silenced and those who were now willing to listen. Sasha's journey was no longer just about revenge on a store that had rejected her. It was about creating a new future where everyone could rise regardless of their background, and where fashion wasn't just a luxury, but a tool for empowerment. The world was watching, and Sasha Obama had proven that sometimes the most powerful revenge wasn't in what you took, it was in what you built. As textile continued to flourish, the world began to take notice, not just of the fashion, but of the people behind it. Sasha Obama and Elon Musk had created more than a successful business. They had sparked a revolution in how we think about power, access, and possibility. Through their work, they had redefined what it meant to be successful, showing that true success wasn't just about fame or wealth, but about creating lasting, meaningful change. But the journey was far from over. There were still critics, still challenges, and still many battles to be fought. Yet, as Sasha looked back at how far she had come, how far they had come, she couldn't help but feel a sense of peace. The world had underestimated her, and now she was standing tall, not as the daughter of a former president, but as a woman who had carved her own path. And Elon, for all his brilliance in technology, found something unexpected in this collaboration. He found a cause that wasn't just about changing the tech world, it was about changing the very fabric of society. In a way, this project had reignited something in him, a desire to make an impact that wasn't just about building the next big thing, but about building a better world. The last chapter of this story wasn't just about success or revenge. It was about the realization that the future isn't something that happens to us, it's something we create. Sasha and Elon had created something extraordinary together, not out of spite or ego, but out of a shared vision for a world where everyone could rise and where technology wasn't just a tool for the privileged, but for the people. As Textile's final campaign was launched, Sasha stood on stage, looking at the thousands of faces in the crowd, people from all walks of life, all backgrounds, all united under the banner of change. She spoke the words that would become the anthem of their movement. Don't let anyone tell you that you don't belong. The world is yours to shape. We are all the future. The crowd erupted in applause, and Sasha knew this was only the beginning. If you believe in the power of change and want to be part of something bigger, hit the like button, share this story, and don't forget to subscribe. Let's keep pushing for a future where everyone has a voice.